Hey guys, welcome to ARTV. This is where I break down albums for you guys, hopefully in an easy to understand format, and of course I try to influence you to either check out the record or skip it. Today I'm going to be talking about the third studio album by Canadian musician electropopper Lights. This album is called Little Machines. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Of course, I am all over those social media sites, so if you want to keep up with me and up to date on all things music, follow me on there, links in the description down below. I have been with Lights since 2008, the self-titled debut EP. Fell in love with that. I was listening to it a ton on MySpace. I remember the track February Air was my profile song at one point. So I've always been decently pleased with Lights and her music, and she actually legally had her name changed to Lights. She's married to the lead singer of Bless the Fall, and she's been continually putting out music, and even in the acoustic format. Last year we got Siberia Acoustic, which featured acoustic renditions of her 2011 record, Siberia. Up We Go was released as the lead single from this record, Little Machines, back in July. I was really stoked on it after, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks of listening. Right off the bat, my only complaint with it was the vocals sounding a little bit overly processed, but I quickly got over that and started to fall for this song. Now, I absolutely love it. I definitely see it making my year-end top songs of the year list just because of its infectious spirit. It's definitely got that mainstream pop appeal because of the way the guitars are toned. There's a lot of synths. I love the synth line on this one. It keeps the song very steady and on track. And then of course you've kind of got those guitars that are very airy in the background. I've come to love the vocal presentation on this one, even if it is a little bit overly processed. Drew Pearson is responsible for the production here on this record, and he's known for working for artists like Katy Perry, a lot of other top 40 big names, and of course, meshing that with Lights' traditional sound. Honestly, I didn't think it would be a very good mashup, but in the long run, I'm very pleased with the way this record turned out as a whole. There are definitely some songs that don't really stand out to me as much. For example, the end of the record struggles a lot more than the first part. I think tracks like Oil and Water, Slow Down, really kind of break the pace of this one. Meteorites kind of feels like a rehash of Up We Go in terms of its synth line and sounding very similar in production and the instrumentation on that one. And I thought that that was kind of a cheap move there. It's not all bad towards the end of the record, but things are definitely more on the mediocre side of the fence, which is definitely a shame. How We Do It tries to have a little bit more fun as a pop song, but doesn't really push its way too far into my head. I mean, it definitely is very catchy and something that could be considered earwormy even, but it's not exactly something I would consider a long-lasting hit. She's done a whole lot better. But getting to something that actually really has a lot of momentum and power to it, we get to the opening track, Portal. This song is absolutely haunting and very chilling. I get chills each time I've heard the song so far. Her vocals on this one are just so straightforward. Right there, she's telling us a story, and it is so good. If you cannot appreciate this song, then do not call yourself a Lights fan. It reminds me sort of that song that Avril Lavigne did for the Alice soundtrack titled Alice in 2010. I thought that that was very cool because I really like that song. Lights doesn't really get into that same vocal approach, but it's just that it's very dark and kind of has a brooding feel about it. I love the visceral nature of this one. It's just right there. You close your eyes and you dissipate into the music, and it is an incredible experience. I like the use of kind of the 80s sounding synths, almost like Lights meets Churches on tracks like Muscle Memory, which is extremely well written. I love the comparisons that are made throughout that track. It's kind of like science meets pop. And of course, more of those 80s styled synths show up on tracks like Speeding and The Same Sea. I think that Speeding does it particularly well just because of the way that that song flows. It's got a certain nuance to it that actually works a little bit more than The Same Sea, in my opinion. Those songs are kind of in similar veins. I talked about a few tracks that I didn't really like towards the end of the album, Slow Down being one of those, just because of the fact that I feel like it's too tried and true. It plays it a little bit too safe. It's speaking of a relationship where everything is just going out of control. Lights can't get a handle on things. It's going south quickly, and she just wants to slow things down and just kind of reel the relationship back in before it turns into nothing. It's not that memorable. It's not doing anything to really put a unique identity on itself, so I'm saying skip that one. The album goes out on Don't Go Home Without Me, and that one is a little bit more genuine and heartfelt, even though I am hearing some like recycled lyrics in there, and that's really the case. You know, a lot of times for artists, they do struggle for material, and Lights wrote the majority of this record by herself, and I very much respect that. Running with the Boys is the final song that I want to talk about. I think that that one does a very good job of once again appealing to the pop market. It was released as the third promotional single off of Little Machines, building hype around the record, and it definitely got me excited. It's kind of one of those tracks that shows Lights having fun on a record, and I absolutely love that. Overall, I'd say I had a pretty good experience with this new Lights record, Little Machines. I think that there are some flaws that I can't really look past, some of the tracks that I'm just not totally on board with, a little bit of lackluster instrumentation, but I do like the way that the synthesizers are toned. I think the mixing is done pretty well on the majority of the tracks. Lights gave a pretty good vocal performance all throughout this thing, and I can tell that there was actually some effort put into this. So for me, it's a 3.5 out of 5. If you've heard Little Machines, let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. If you've only heard the singles, you can feel free to let me know your thoughts on those in the comment section down below, and if you're planning to check out the record or not. I'm planning to review Alt J, maybe a couple of other records within the next week or so. I've got a lot of content coming to you guys. I'm closing in on my 5th anniversary with this channel, so make sure to subscribe. We're almost to 9,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for everyone who's been sticking with me through the years. Hit the like button on this video, and I will see you very soon right here on ARTV, Beyond the Reviews.